Okay.
Right. Well,
Well, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm Dawn.
and
This
I'm
is
Emma.
Emma. I represent Checkout Studio Chicago,
And I represent Checkout Studio New York. And
and we're
yeah,
coming together this fall to teach Introduction to the Checkoff Technique. This is an opportunity for our studios to work together, and it's really great to do this in this way. So we're coming here today to give a little taste of what that checkoff training is going to be. It's kind of more involved than either of our studios have done so far.
yeah, it's a 9-week training with 2 sessions a week. So it comes out to about 36 hours of training. And our hope is to give you an overview of all the tools and also a chance to apply it. Going to be working with Anton Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard. Yeah. And this is being live streamed on YouTube, but we have a couple of friends here to take the class with us, and thankful that they're there. And I think we'll also address things to them because they're here with us in person. But if you're watching on YouTube, please imagine as if you're here with us. And we wanted to just share an open experience of what a part of the class would be like and the direction we're going.
And so one of the things that happens in an online class is we have the opportunity to be quite focused on ourselves in our home space. And then we also have this supportive ensemble right here ready to share and be a part of what we're doing. So if you are watching on YouTube, you also have your home space that you're working in, and you can imagine that you would be a part of this group right here.
Dawn, do you want to just take a moment to address the actor's practice and perhaps what we have here might have thought on their own?
Well, if we ask the question, why does an actor need to even go to class? The answer is that there's a whole skill set to be built up in an actor. And there's also this idea that the actor needs to constantly be working on their artistic self in order to be at their best when they want to be performing. And that needs practice. And sometimes actors are shy about practicing, or they're kind of unsure what to do to practice. And one of the beautiful things about having a technique is to have something to help you do that. Some tools and also some inspiration to get you up and get you going. And maybe that's also an advantage of having the online group to work with, is there's some motivation, there's some helpful instigation to get you going. If I think about...
Well, and on top of that, you're literally in your personal space. Like
you're practicing, right? As you would do. Or could do. And what to do with that. Because I know what it's like. I'm an actor who could sometimes just not know what to do. Get up in the morning and not really know what to do with my actor practice. So having some tool or some process is really valuable.
Dawn, you kind of mentioned a question that was in your mind that we might ask is, well, how are you with your practice? With the assumption that as an actor, we want to be working all the time. So what are you working on, or what are you desiring to?
Yeah, so let's say you're not cast in a role right now, today, but you want to be. So that means you're looking at auditions coming down the road, or that you hope are coming down the road. And you need to be ready for those auditions. Sometimes they come up very fast. I'm an actor coach, and I sometimes have people call me literally at 10 o'clock at night saying, I have an audition tomorrow morning, can we meet? I mean, it's that fast, right? So you have to be ready to meet those situations. And how could you get ready? How could you be in practice so that when those times come, you're already there? If you're going to work on an audition material or you're going to work on a role that you are cast in, you have this character that is swimming around in your mind. If you're working on audition piece, there's this person, you're going to do their text, but there's this person, and it's sort of swimming around in your thought all the time. And you want to bring that into whatever you do as you practice. Now, for me, your practice means more than just getting this role prepped. It means getting yourself prepped. And I like to use the term a wise actor body. And I get that term from Michael Chekhov, who says all of our exercises give to our bodies wisdom. So I like to think as we do our exercises, we're giving our body wisdom, which helps us to be ready to meet the character and whatever acting situations are coming. So as we work with the Chekhov techniques, some of what we're doing is preparing the wise actor body. It's not yet going into the character or the scene. It's preparing ourselves, our actor selves, to meet the character, to meet the scene, to meet the acting situation. So it can seem like some of the exercises we do don't touch the character, but don't worry, that's going to come up. Very soon it's going to make a connection. Okay? First we start with ourselves. We're nurturing the wise actor body. We're expanding our ability to inhabit an imaginative character. And we're also finding out what it is to discover the inner life, which is what we're really expressing when we act. We want to find that, feel that, be awake to it and delighted in it so that we can radiate it to our audiences. And that sounds like a lot of stuff to do, doesn't it? A lot of stuff to get ready to do.
Dawn, I'm wondering if it's okay to ask everyone something that they might be desiring in their practice.
Yeah.
And then maybe we'll get up on our feet and do something. I'm good?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What are you desiring in your practice? Francesca, you want to start?
I don't know. I just wanna play. I'd love to be moved, to be led by you. I just wanna play and having fun and wake up this part about Dawn was speaking about, no? The part of the actor, the consciousness of the body and all this. Okay.
Feel more play and freedom at the ready.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. Hi, Ivana.
Yeah, hey. And I don't expect anything. I'm open for the experience, and I am open to see and to live the moment.
Okay, great. David?
Yeah, hi everyone. I just like Chekhov, what I've read of him so far. I've always wanted to find a process, and it's brilliant that now there's a technique that I can practice. So if I'm not working, I could mold my body and my mind in a way that I'll always be ready. Just like an athlete goes to the gym, a musician is always practicing. So now I think I do have a technique. So I just want to learn more because it's all good what I've learned from it, and it stimulates and inspires me, everything I hear. So it's, for me, I feel like I'm home now because I know what pathway to take. So that's where I'm at. I'm still very new with Chekhov, but yeah, it's for me. I'm at film school now, and we're using the Chekhov process. So because you guys are on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I attend class on Wednesdays, so I won't be able to come to this one. But I saw this email, so I've taken advantage of it. It's my birthday today, so it's just a birthday present from you guys.
David, you brought up something, yeah, whether you know the technique or not, I think it's like just asking what are you universally needing as an actor? And you bring up this question of home, which is interesting. Is there something about needing to feel at home in your instrument? It's a nice word. To not be out of yourself, trying to please the industry or whatever. How do you actually feel at home?
Yeah, it takes away the anxiety as well. I feel peaceful basically at home, and that's what home means, doesn't it? Your well-being in your situation.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Ksenia, do you have any thoughts on?
Well, the thing that interests me the most in Chekhov technique is the psychological gesture, the characterization. So to translate some mental understanding of the character into your body.
Yeah.
It's probably too much for this short lesson.
Yeah. So in the class that's coming up, we will be working with a play, and we will have characters from the play. But today, you could be thinking about any character that you're interested to think about that maybe you want to prepare.
Yes, it would be wonderful. I'm playing Nora in a small production, so the doll's house. So everything that I'm hearing about Chekhov technique, I'm trying to apply into this character.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Yeah. Well, Dawn, what do you think? What should we do?
Well, I think we should just dive in and do some work because these people came to work, so let's do it.
Yeah.
Are you ready? So there's a difference between sitting and talking and getting up and doing. We have to rearrange our space a little bit, perhaps, to accommodate that. And that's part of the joy of online class, is to just get ourselves in a space that can work for us and put lots of area around you as much as you can do. It's a little weird here. Good. You want to be sure that you can move in every part around you, yeah? So you're not bumping into furniture. It looks like you all got that worked out really nicely. Great. And for a while, we're going to be tuning into ourselves. So you could turn away from the Zoom ensemble if you like, that's okay. And there might be a time where we want to come back to the ensemble and share something with the ensemble, but most of the time we're going to really tune into ourselves. So just enjoy being in your home working space and take a moment to prepare yourself to dive into your work. There's kind of a decision to be made. I'm going to do my work now, and see if you can find that in yourself, that preparation of yourself to step into your work. And when you're ready, take that first step into your work. It's just a step. And then we're in. And keep the momentum by continuing to move a little bit. Move around your space. Get yourself going. And I'm going to lead you to prepare your body. So let's just get this body moving. Move as freely as you can. And by that I mean let there be no restrictions to what you do. Keep it very fluid. Let yourself open up to more of the space around you. And enjoy making any kind of move. Sometimes really abstract moving is so helpful to us because it breaks us out of our patterns. Certainly everyday patterns are a little boring, but we can just kind of throw ourselves into some new and unusual moves that surprise us. Delight in the freedom of your creativity. And keep moving, but as you're moving, I want you to put your attention into the lower part of your body, your feet, your legs, your thighs, your hips, your lower belly. Tune in to that part of you while you're moving freely, and perhaps see what kind of freedom and creative interest you can do with this lower part of your body. And also perhaps appreciate the strength that you have in your lower body. And now as you're moving, move up to the part of your body that is the chest, the upper back, the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and tune into this part of you. Find a freedom in that movement, noticing the shoulders, noticing the arms, noticing the chest, noticing the upper back. Coming home to our bodies is paying attention to our bodies in a healthy and creative way. And then move your attention up to the area around your throat, your jaw, your forehead, your head, your eyes, and tune into this part of you. And isn't it interesting that we all got kind of still as we moved our attention up to the place where we think our bodies kind of shut down? Doesn't that tell us a lot about what happens when we think all the time? But there's movement up here too, yeah? And there's a lot of movement in your throat and your jaw because you're going to be breathing and talking there. And there's movement as your eyes scope out what's around you. There's a ton of movement in your thinking, but it seems to be in your thinking. So let's keep the movement happening in this upper part of you. Go ahead and yawn, stretch open that jaw. Let the breath come through your open throat. And now we're ready to really address the breath, yeah? Pay attention to your breath. Feel that breath moving through your body. There's a constant flow of movement with the breath coming in and the breath flowing out. This is our most fundamental dynamic. The breath flowing in and flowing out. And really appreciate that movement. And you can connect that to the movements you're doing in your body and your attention to the different parts of your body. For instance, as you breathe in, can you breathe in all the way down into your legs and feet? As you breathe out, can you let that flow of breath out become a wonderful movement in your legs and feet? So the breath has everything to do with these movements we've been making. Can you let your breath permeate your chest and your arms as your breath flows in and flows out? Can you let your breath flow out through your arms and hands and fingers? And what is it to have the breath relate to your throat and your head? What would happen as you take a big incoming breath that you feel it filling your head? Just filling your head with a big breath. And flowing out of your head. Your breath flowing out of your head. Beautiful. Now that's the breath relating to our body. What happens if you now breathe into the space right around your body? Yeah? So we breathe through our body, and now we're going to breathe into the space around our body. We're opening up into the space beyond the body. So start breathing and feeling that there's a movement happening that goes beyond your body into the space around you. I like to think that this space around me is a part of my body, and it is. And this is around my head, and it's around my shoulders, it's around my chest, It's around my belly, it's around my hips, it's around my thighs, it's around my legs and feet. This sort of bubble of me. And what would happen if I breathed and moved freely into a larger bubble? I'm just expanding that bubble further away from my solid body and realizing that I have a much larger bubble. And what would happen if I expand way beyond the reach of my limbs? I expand my bubble into this enormous space. Beautiful. Look how large you are. You have this absolutely enormous space that is your personal bubble. Now let's just finish this part of our exercise by bringing your attention back to your breathing mechanism, to your core, and go deep into your breath for a second. Good. We're ready to do an exercise. So we prepared our body awareness, and we're ready to start an exercise that's going to relate to our acting. We're only going to have time to do one part of it today, and that is the idea of expanding, which we sort of just did with our breath. That's why we took some time to do that, yeah? That the wise actor body is now going to work with a tool that can take us into our acting. So remember when we asked you what character you're working on, the character is still sitting very close to you, right? It's kind of in the back of your mind, waiting for its time to come. And it's still sitting there waiting. And what happens when we do our exercises is suddenly something will occur in the doing of the exercise that is just right for this character that's sitting here waiting. Yeah, and we'll know when that moment comes. It'll suddenly just happen. And we'll say, oh, I know that belongs to my character, and I know my character would be doing that right there. Yeah? So we don't push that. We just let it be. The character is waiting for its time. And we're going to focus on an exercise Chekhov calls expanding. Now, everything that we do in the Chekhov technique is not just physical. So whatever we do as our movement and our breath, this is not physical alone. It relates to the psychology. Michael Chekhov says this system is an interwoven system. Psychology and physicality together as one thing. Yeah? So whenever we're thinking about our physical movement, we have to be always asking, what is the psychology in this? This is a human event. What is the psychology that is part of this thing that I'm doing? What does it mean, in other words? What does this mean? We can only ask that question, and then we'll feel the answer as we go along. So let's try this. What we just did with the movement of our breath got us in the right direction of this feeling of flowing, of our energies moving out, coming in. So let's just take that, be ready, and make a movement that expands outward with your whole body. And ask yourself, what happened when I did that? And then get ready again and do it again. And then pause and listen to what might be happening in your system. And say, what did I just do? What was that? That is a primal human experience. What did I just discover? What happened to me when I did that? Something shifted, something became aware and conscious to me. Let's try it again. A big expansive movement. What am I doing? What is happening? How do I feel? Now, what would happen if we do this big expansive movement and we do it really fast and then reflect on it? Let's try it. What was that? I'm not sure. I better do it again. Let's try it again, really fast. That stirs something up in me. Maybe I can name it. Maybe I don't have to. Let's try it again. What is that? Let's try it really slow. An expansive movement, but very slowly. What is that? What happened to me? Is this a familiar sensation? Do I know what this is? I better try it again, like a scientist. I'm studying a human event. Let's try it really slowly. What is that? I have to pause and reflect on it. Great. Now, what would happen if we tried to bring in our voice? And we use just one word. The word is yes. Let's do it with the quick expansion. So we quickly expand while we say the word yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Good. Now, what happens if we do this really slow? You have to drag the word out, don't you? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Great. Now pause and reflect on what you've been doing. Do you sense something that's happening in you? Can you identify this? Is it surprising you? Is it interesting to you? Can you feel yourself permeated with this expanding that is happening in you?
Yes.
If you can still feel this after the practice that you've just done, if you can still feel this expanding happening, whether it was a quick one or a slow one, if you can still feel this movement of expanding in you, can you sustain that or pay attention to it and do not much on the outside? So as we work with this, we teach ourselves by kind of awakening ourselves to something, and then once it fills us on the inside, we're going to do less on the outside and listen to what's happening on the inside. So you might try it like this. Do your expansion and then let your body be easy, but feel that you're still expanding. Can you do that? Let's try it. Very gently let your outer body relax and let your inner body be full of expansion. And maybe you could just walk around your room and feel this expansion happening in you. You might, at this point, turn towards the ensemble and radiate your expansion towards your audience. And maybe you want to say yes. If you still feel
Yes.
it, you feel it inside.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Now very consciously stop doing that. So we build up this feeling of interactivity, and at some point we're going to switch it to something else, and at some point we're going to bring it to a close. So once we decide that we're no longer expanding, then we're no longer expanding, yeah? And we're just back to something like normal, whatever that is. But if you wanted to go to expanding again, it's a movement away, right? We can just do one big movement of expansion and we got it back, right? Because we practice with it. And once it fills you up on the inside, then you can do your acting with it. You can see if this expansion relates to something that you're working on in your acting. And with that, I'm going to pass the baton over to Emma.
Great. Well, I think we're going to come and see if we can do something similar in a smaller space, somehow a more intimate space here, closer to the camera and with each other. Beautiful. So here's this question of, we can engage in a movement and somehow there's consequence, perhaps even psychological consequences, happenings, human happenings, feelings, a lot that can possibly show up. So let's just try this in a different way. You could take your hand, and your hand will get to be off camera. But let's just try for a moment if we can engage the same activity of expansion. So feel, just, first connect that you have a hand. How incredible. There's something about the reality of the hand. And then with the gentleness that Dawn cultivated in our breath and our bodies, just going to let an impulse of expansion arrive. And as you feel that arrive, then let your fingers start to follow. And just almost let it happen to you. Ask, is it possible? Yeah, and David, if you can, at some point, or all of us, maybe there's some point that you just let it be, so you can open your eyes and still have something of this expansion you just started. Possible. See if you can just let the hand go. Hold on to it. And breathe. And then one at a time, you're gonna just work with this expansion from the hand. Your hand is off screen, so you can do it again if you need to. One at a time, we'll come in and say yes. Let's see it, like a little improv. Whenever anyone is ready. Can't hear me, David? Oh. Yeah, unmute you on.
Sorry, you said, I didn't hear exactly what you said you want us to do. Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Yes. So we can do it again. We'll do this expansion. Wait, see what happens actually if you do it off screen. And then it's as if we just all came to this room together and we have something to say to each other, and the text happens to be the word yes. So you can come in one at a time spontaneously. And the real importance of this is not to say how great we can say yes to each other, but it is to be surprised by this movement that you're engaging with. See what happens.
Yes.
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 Beautiful. And I know it's very simple, but you might find that a little bit of movement, also freedom in your body, will help, even though you're concentrating on this expansion. What happens if you just let yourself play with forward and or back? There's a finding of each other. And what is this? Yes, beautiful. So let's just play with that. It's just taking this movement forward a little bit. See who you find on the screen. What happens if you take it forward? Do you find somebody stand out? Do you have something you want to say? These possibilities. And what happens if you take it again and you expand back? You see everybody there? Is there a different feeling, sensation of what's happening? Okay, and you're free to say yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So we just start to feel that something's happening, and we can obviously become much more sophisticated with this. How about I give you one little bit more? Let's see if it's possible to do this movement. And at the end of it, we're going to say the word no. That's possible. You can do it in your own space, there with your hand. And start opening the hand and feel it affect the whole body. At some point, it's going to be imperative that the word is no. No?
No.
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 Beautiful. And so same thing, just to give you a little bit more freedom, let yourself move a little bit with it. It happens to be forward and back, but there's movement in all directions.
No.
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 Good. And we'll stay with this. This is the last piece. Is you have no and you have yes.
Just 1 second, Emma.
Yes.
Sorry. But we have to do together expansion and forward. So, or we have to. Okay.
The concentration is on expanding.
Okay.
I just added a little bit of movement
Okay.
to free us up.
Because the first of the
Concentration
two
is
times,
expansion.
the first of the 2 times that we did now, I'm enjoying a lot. The first of the 2 times, I didn't get it, so I was like, I took the direction forward and backward, indeed of expansion, and it was great as well.
Yeah,
It was.
those are
But now-
also things we'll get into. But it's interesting. When you did it even because we had done expansion, you all are
Okay.
expanding forward and expanding.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this, we make a little moment of theater, right? That's what our aim is to work towards.
This is what Chekhov might call a little work of art, a little teeny work of art.
Yes. And yeah, doesn't matter how big it is, we can make it art. Okay, you want to go in for another minute, and then we'll step out?
Yes.
So for both of them, the concentration's expansion, but I just give you the freedom to explore. And the impulse to say yes or no comes out of that.
Yes.
Beautiful, David. Really expand with that no out into the space. Try it again, maybe. Give us another no.
Yes.
No.
No. No.
No.
Yes.
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 No.
Oh no!
Yes.
Good. So just come to one last expansion that ends whatever's going on for you. Ends this little piece of art.
Good.
Okay, good. Maybe we can talk about this briefly. Just take a moment to take in what you did with Dawn and with me. And yeah, what happened for you? If anything happened? Did you have psychological experiences come to you in the activity?
Yeah, I did, because as Dawn was saying, that everything we do physically, we do it internally as well. And that's where you get the response, or you let go of the physically doing it and then sustain it internally. And that's when you get certain, I would almost say, feeling of, like when we was expanding with our body, it was like I was embracing everyone. And it was a joyful embrace, wanting to touch everyone. You know, it was joyful, at least.
Yeah. And did it change, or each time you did it? Were there variations?
Yes, it varied. And I tried to get, because then I realized, oh, I'm experiencing something. So I realized I was getting in my head. So then, you know, just let the feeling come, let the impulse come. Don't think about it. So I'm still, you know, learning to get out of my head and just like, just allow the impulses to come instead of like forcing it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely felt something inside. Once I know that I let go of the physical and then just wait what happens inside, or sustain it, let it carry on, then something comes up.
Yeah. How did you feel your sense of being present? This is for anyone. Your ability to be present to whatever was coming. Was the movement helpful?
That movement helps you very, very much to be present, because you follow every very little during the whole process of existing. And then it's like you can think in anything else. You are at the moment. You're present. Yeah.
It sounds almost like a captivating experience.
Yes.
But I found the more present I am, the more it works, because the minute I'm distracted, it disappears and it's not working. No, you got to be there, and then it'll happen. And then the more you focus, the more it just expands, or the more it entices you. So I think they go together. It's a concentrated method. It's a method where focus is like the ABC of it all.
Yeah, we work very consciously, and that the training is to work so consciously that then when we get on stage, it is it's there for you. So there's a freedom, and that that presence is not a present, is not a like, do this right, but it is being totally there with what's happening and what the play needs and the character, and that it can be different every night to some degree. Like a beautiful thing that Michael Chekhov as an actor left as a legacy was apparently he loved to really make every performance different and new. I mean, he had to do what the blocking was, and he loved it. And in his writings and conversations with people, you can see how that a performance grows when you work like that.
So would you be ready now to take what you just did, and as you consider this character that's been hovering in the back of your mind, could you say, is there any opportunity for an expansion like this to happen for my character? In what way? How would she do that, or how would he would do that, and what is going on with them when they do that? And that could be a little exploration for your character work, or whatever thing you're working on. It's a kind of door into something that you may not have considered for your character yet, and maybe a door into performing a moment that is important to your character.
Don, would you, expanding becomes many things in the technique.
Many.
To some degree, it's a gesture.
Yeah.
And as we experienced today, it brings along psychology. So then you get kind of the beginning of this thing called a psychological gesture. That is termed in this work. So there's the first gesture.
Yeah.
Gesture. Well, I think that maybe we wrap up here. But thank you guys for coming. And this course, if anyone's watching on YouTube, will be starting on October 17th, and we still have a few spaces. And it will go through December 14th, so 9 weeks. And message the studio if you have any questions. And then lastly, I just want to open it up to people who are here. If you have anything you want to say, questions with Don and I here.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Francesca.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for giving us a taste, because it was a taste.
Yes,
You know,
it is just a taste, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lot more.
Yeah, and the fact that what Dawn was saying, because somebody just today asked me, they want me to play a part, so I said, okay, what will it be? And they said basically it's a spiritually inclined person, he comes on the roof and somebody tries to kill himself, and I convinced them not to. So then Dawn said, how would you apply that maybe to that character? So it's given me some thoughts, and it's like what you said, Emma, it's kind of a doorway in now. Because that feeling of expanding, what could I do? Or how does that feeling, how do I implement it with my character? And I can see things from different directions, so it's really helpful. And I'm sure that's the way, isn't it? That's the way in, isn't it? That's how we build character, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And it's very easy as well, in one sense. It's simple,
Yeah.
As well as deep.
Something Don was talking with me about was about the possibilities that open up. So you might play with expansion, and the archetypal expansion might not be right, but there is expansion throughout everybody's day in some form or another. There's opening to things, and there's closing from things. So I don't know what that expansion is going to look like for that guy as he approaches this other guy, but how fun to just try it and see what happens to be there. You do that.
Well, thank you so much. It's a great taste of the technique. Making the movement, the gesture, and then making it inside, it's very enriching because it gives all those possibilities. Yeah. Just that, yeah. It's like bypassing the mind. It's going right directly into your experience of the body instead of thinking I should be like this and then doing this and then hoping now I should feel like this. But it's like putting it aside and just go into the experience. So
Yeah. Well, I wish you luck with Nora. Okay, thank you all. I'll turn off the live stream.
Great.